Picture this. You're on a battlefield,
Oh, wow.
and your army is outnumbered almost 2-1.
Yeah,
Sounds a little scary, right?
it does.
But what if I told you that you could actually use that to your advantage
Yeah.
and just crush the enemy?
Okay.
Well, that's what happened way back in 216 BCE at this battle, the Battle of Cannae,
Okay.
where this Carthaginian general, Hannibal Barca,
Yeah.
who was like a military mastermind,
Right.
he pulled off one of the most amazing victories in history.
Yeah. It's incredible how Hannibal, even though he was totally outnumbered by the Romans,
Right.
he managed to flip the script and just completely dominate.
Yeah, and we've got some really cool sources here
Okay.
that break down this legendary battle. So Cannae, Cannae's location seems like it was super important in Hannibal's plan.
It was.
Why did he choose this specific spot for the showdown?
Well, Hannibal, he was a brilliant strategist.
Yeah.
And he knew exactly what he was doing. Cannae was a really important port for the Romans. It was key for their supply lines. So he figured if he could capture it,
How?
he could force them into a fight on his terms.
I see.
So he picks this flat, open plain,
Okay.
which you'd think would favor the Romans because they had a bigger army.
Right, right.
But that was all part of his plan.
So he kind of tricked them into
Yeah.
thinking they had the upper hand.
Exactly. He played on their expectations, and the Romans, they were led by these two consuls
way?
who had totally different leadership styles.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, one was super cautious and the other was really reckless.
That's not a good combo.
Not when you're going up against someone like Hannibal.
No, not at all. So the sources talk about this crescent formation that Hannibal used.
Yes.
It sounds crazy.
That was brilliant.
Can you explain how it worked?
So Hannibal put his weakest troops right in the center,
Okay.
and he made them bulge out towards the Romans.
So they looked stronger than they were.
Exactly. He wanted to make the Romans think they were breaking through.
Ah, clever.
Yeah, to draw them in. But then, on the sides, he had his best troops hidden.
Wow, like a trap.
Exactly. Ready to strike at the perfect moment.
And the Romans, they just charged right in thinking they were winning.
Yeah, they thought they had it in the bag.
They got totally
That
surrounded.
was a classic pincer movement.
So those tight Roman lines,
Yeah.
which were usually their strength,
Right.
they became their weakness.
Total chaos. They couldn't move, couldn't fight effectively.
It was a massacre.
The sources say something like 50,000 to 70,000 Roman soldiers were killed in just one day.
That's unbelievable.
It's one of the bloodiest battles ever.
Just imagine the terror,
Oh, I know.
the chaos.
That's been a nightmare.
But what I find even more amazing is what Rome did next.
Yeah.
Most empires would have just given up after a loss like that.
Right.
But the Romans,
They were different.
they didn't surrender.
No, they didn't. They showed incredible resilience.
So what did they do?
They doubled down. They were determined to win that war.
That's pretty impressive.
It really is. They learned from their mistakes and came back stronger.
That's where Hannibal's brother, Hasdrubal, comes in, right?
Exactly. Hasdrubal was coming from Spain with reinforcements.
To help Hannibal.
Yeah, but the Romans had learned from Cannae.
Ah, so they were ready for him.
They were. And that brings us to the story about Hasdrubal's head.
Yeah, that's a bit gruesome.
It is. After they defeated Hasdrubal, the Romans took his head
Oh, wow.
and sent it to Hannibal's camp.
That's a pretty strong message.
It was. They wanted to demoralize Hannibal and his troops.
What does that tell us about the Romans?
It shows how determined they were to win.
Yeah.
They were willing to do whatever it took. But it also shows how adaptable they were.
Okay.
They had learned from Cannae, they changed their tactics, and they were ready to beat Hannibal.
So they were able to turn their biggest defeat
Yeah.
into a learning experience.
Exactly. And that's what ultimately led to their victory over Carthage.
It's fascinating how they were able to analyze their failures
Yeah.
and adjust their strategies.
It's remarkable.
Their ability to adapt and learn is truly impressive.
It's a testament to their resilience. They understood that it wasn't just about enduring hardship.
Right.
It was about evolving and getting stronger because of it.
That's a powerful lesson.
It is.
And it's something we can all learn from.
Absolutely.
So Cannae was this huge defeat for Rome, but it also kind of forced them to get better.
Yeah. In a way, it was a turning point.
They had to figure out what went wrong and come up with new ideas to survive.
Exactly. It's amazing how sometimes a crisis can lead to innovation.
You mentioned something earlier about the lasting significance of Cannae.
Yeah.
Why should we care about a battle that happened over 2,000 years ago?
Well, think about it. Cannae is more than just some old battle.
Yeah.
It's a case study that they still study today.
Really?
Yeah, in military academies all over the world.
Wow.
It's a classic example of what they call a decisive battle.
Mm.
One battle that can change the entire course of a war
Wow.
or even shape civilization.
So even though Hannibal lost the war in the end,
Right.
Cannae is still this iconic victory that teaches us important lessons.
Exactly. It shows us Hannibal's genius.
Right.
His strategy, his understanding of psychology,
Mhm.
how he used the enemy's weaknesses against them.
And of course, there's that amazing resilience of the Romans,
Oh, absolutely.
bouncing back from a defeat like that.
Yeah, it's just as important a lesson as Hannibal's victory.
It makes you wonder what would happen if Hasdrubal had actually reached Hannibal.
Oh, that's interesting.
Could they have changed history?
Well, if Hasdrubal's reinforcements had made it,
Yeah.
Rome might have been in serious trouble.
Really?
Yeah, the combined Carthaginian forces could have been too much for them.
So that other battle, the Battle of the Metaurus River, where
Yeah.
the Romans stopped Hasdrubal,
Right.
that was just as important as Cannae.
Oh, absolutely. It saved the Roman Republic.
Wow.
It also showed how much the Romans were learning about warfare. They're becoming more strategic and figuring out how to counter Hannibal.
It seems like these battles were about more than just tactics.
Right.
It was this clash of cultures.
It was.
What can we learn from how the Romans and Carthaginians approached war and leadership?
Well, both sides had their own strengths.
Okay.
Carthage, under Hannibal, was really innovative.
Yeah.
They weren't afraid to take risks and think outside the box.
What?
But they might not have had the same long-term vision or organization as the Romans.
What about the Romans then?
The Romans were masters of organization, discipline, and logistics.
Okay.
They knew how to work together. They understood perseverance.
Hmm.
They might not have been as brilliant as Hannibal in every battle,
Right.
but they believed in their cause and had this incredible resilience that helped them through tough times.
So Hannibal was this brilliant military leader, but Rome had something else.
Yeah.
Something more.
Yeah, like a deeper
It's
strength.
helped them win in the end.
Exactly. Hannibal was a genius when it came to tactics. But Rome, they had this unwavering determination, a collective spirit, and just this incredible resilience that they just wouldn't be stopped.
And that brings us to something I've been thinking about.
Okay.
Hannibal, even though he won all these battles,
Right.
he lost the war.
Yeah.
It makes you wonder, is being a tactical genius enough to win?
That's a great question.
Or are there other things that matter more?
It's like the classic debate, talent versus hard work.
Right.
Hannibal had the talent for sure,
Yeah.
but Rome had other advantages.
Like what?
Well, they had tons of resources,
Right.
a united population, people who were willing to sacrifice for their country.
Yeah.
And I think most importantly, they were able to learn and adapt from their mistakes.
They turned their losses into opportunities to grow.
Exactly.
So winning battles isn't everything.
It's not.
It's about the big picture.
It is.
It's about having the resilience
Yeah,
to keep going when things are tough.
absolutely. Resources matter. Perseverance matters.
Right.
Even luck can play a role.
Yeah. You need a bit of that too.
Hannibal might have won the battles,
Hmm.
but Rome won the war.
They just outlasted them.
They did.
It's like they say, it's not about how hard you can hit.
Right.
It's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward.
That's a good one.
The Romans were the embodiment of that spirit.
They really were.
They understood that you're going to face setbacks in life,
It's inevitable.
but giving up is not an option.
Never give up.
They were determined to learn and adapt and overcome any obstacle.
Yeah, that's inspiring.
This has been such a fascinating deep dive
They have.
into this legendary conflict.
Yeah.
We've talked about Hannibal's amazing tactics at Cannae,
He's genius.
that devastating defeat for Rome,
It was shocking.
and their incredible comeback.
It really was a comeback.
But what I think is even more important are the lessons we can learn from this
Absolutely.
about strategy and resilience.
And the power of never giving up.
Exactly. So next time you're facing a challenge,
Hmm.
remember what happened to Cannae.
Okay.
Remember that unyielding spirit of the Romans.
Right.
Embrace the struggle.
Yeah.
Learn from your mistakes
Mm,
and never give up on your goals.
good advice.
You might just have your own incredible comeback story.
You never know.
Well, this has been another amazing deep dive.
It has been.
We'd love to hear what you thought about this episode.
Yeah. What stood out to you?
What lessons will you take away from this trip back in time?
Share your thoughts on social media.
Let's keep exploring history together.
Yeah, we love hearing from our listeners.
And if you enjoyed this deep dive into ancient warfare,
Yeah,
make sure to subscribe to The Deep Dive
that's right.
for more captivating journeys into history and beyond.
We got so many fascinating topics coming up.
So hit that subscribe button and join us
Come along with us.
as we unearth the wonders of the world one deep dive at a time.